Today on Across the Fence, get a bird's eye view of life in Vermont and make tweeting fun again. It's time for Bird Notes with Mark LaBarr from Audubon, Vermont.
Hello, Vermont. Well, it's April. The air is full of bird song, and if you still have a feeder up, there's a buffet line forming as jays and cardinals and chickadees all vie for space. Mark, I feel like this is the most glorious time for birding.
It is the cusp. It is the cusp of it.
I'm excited, and he says it's just the cusp.
So everybody's getting excited. There's things happening. But for a lot of us, May is the big time that we see a lot of the migrants come through, you know, especially some of the neotropical migrants, the long distance migrants. But it is a good time. It gives you hope that warmer days are on the way. And so, you know, we have those first vestiges of birds coming in to delight us. And so it's, yes, it's an exciting time, but patience is required.
Okay, fine. Patience is required. All right. So you said we want to start today by talking about bluebirds. And this is actually a bird I don't know all that much about, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so bluebirds, you know, they are a perennial favorite for folks. I have had bluebirds. Here's a nice male sitting on a box. They're a bird that uses nest cavities and has adapted to nest boxes that are put up. And so it's a bird that can be hit or miss. You know, you often want to have those boxes out in a open area, like, you know, that's not in the trees and stuff like that. And if you're lucky, over the years, I've had bluebirds now and again and other birds. So, but this is the time that you want to get out there. The bluebirds are back. And they're prospecting. And so if you haven't, it means they're kind of flying around and they're checking out. We have a number of different nest boxes on the property, and I've seen a pair at mine, at the one in the field next to us. And this is your standard bluebird box. Usually on a post, usually set out in an open area, 1.5 inch hole, and it's deep enough. You can see it's 6 inches deep, so that allows the bluebirds to set up shop. And if you don't get bluebirds, you might get tree swallows, chickadees. So these boxes are, they really do well for birds all around. One thing with the box is that not only do we know where they are, and the bluebirds do, but predators do as well. So we often recommend that. I don't know if you saw in that picture that square that was right over the hole. So that's a predator guard. And basically what that does is keep like a raccoon from reaching into the box and getting at the eggs and the chicks.
Got to protect those nestlings.
Yeah, so you got to protect them. This is the time of year, you know, you want to be careful because the bluebirds are back, but you want to make sure your boxes are clean. You know, bluebirds may start filling them up at this point, but there's still time. There's a number of different box types. This is another one that's out there. Which maybe replicates, you know, a leaned over branch in the forest that they might naturally nest in. So you just want to make sure, you know, your boxes are clean and ready for the birds to go. If you think there might be bluebirds attending a box, you might want to just leave that box be then.
Steer clear.
Steer clear of it at this point. So March is a good time oftentimes to get out and do the box cleaning, because even though bluebirds will float in and out of Vermont during the winter times, we'll see them occasionally. They really don't start get going until right about now.
All right. So who else is around that folks are probably seeing?
Well, you know, we have some birds that we've seen all winter in some parts of the state. So the robin, right? It's around if there's fruit-bearing trees like this. But this time of year, we begin to see large numbers of robins start to move through.
So many robins in my neighborhood.
Right. So these are our migrants that are starting to push through, and we see them all over. You know, it's interesting because if it snows, they might disappear for a little bit and then they'll come back. But this is a time when we start seeing a big push for robins. Another one is our cardinals. Now, they're around all winter too.
This is who I'm hearing right now.
So
I go outside and this is all I hear is cardinal song, cardinal song, cardinal song.
So it sounds, excuse me, I think like a Star Wars gun. Pew, 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 pew. So even though they've been around, they're, you know, they're forming their pairs, or they've been with their partner, and the males are starting to sing. So this is another exciting bird to, you know, it just pops up more
Yeah.
in our view
These,
shed.
they've been on my feeder, and you usually see them in pairs.
Yeah.
So we kind of have like a dustier colored
The
female,
female
more
is,
vibrant
yes,
male.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
they're so cute. Okay, we have another one.
And then again, another one, juncos. And juncos may visit feeders all winter long. They're a ground feeder. People will see them. But again, this is a bird that is now beginning to push through. So we're beginning to see larger numbers. They have a pretty straight trill song, which I've heard them singing. So again, one of the exciting things, you know, I got back from Belize and I heard a couple chickadees in the woods. But now we're really starting to see the returning birds, and they're beginning to sing.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, and I'll just this is something I've been doing. I've been using the Cornell Ornithology
Yes.
Labs Merlin app.
Yes.
Because that's so fantastic. You can go out, you know, you hear something, you just tap on the listen, and then it'll pop up and start giving you matches for what it's hearing.
Yeah, so Merlin is really kind of a breakthrough for a lot of people because birdsong can be overwhelming,
Yeah.
to say the least. And so having the ability to, if you don't see the bird, you can still hear it and identify it. And
And then you know what to start looking around for you for.
exactly, yes.
Okay, so we're going to move on.
Okay.
Are there birds? And so birds stay. Those were all with us all winter long.
Some
and then
of
we
them
have
are.
some
And
arrivals.
and then arrivals that
Okay.
are pushing through.
So let's see some of those new arrivals that are
So,
getting here.
you know, one that's been back now for a while and has been singing regularly is our song sparrow. Okay, this is our pretty common ubiquitous sparrow that you find around. Maybe not in cities, you might have house sparrows and stuff like that, but they're back and they're beginning to sing, so that's a good one. Last
got-
week, the phoebes showed up.
Phoebes, okay.
So they are a bird that, for folks that have them, know that they nest underneath eaves and stuff like that, and they have their classic Phoebe song. So we're beginning to hear them and see them, and we actually saw one yesterday on one of our platforms that we build for them, sitting and checking out the nest. So they're another shorter distance early arrival. And then one that you probably hear before you see it is
knock, knock, knock.
Yes, the
Yeah.
yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Okay.
And this is a bird that's now returning, and it's drumming, which it uses to attract a mate and defend its territory. Always has an ending to it, so it's like dump, 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 and it slows down like that.
Oh, wow.
And they will use anything loud that they can, you know, they will pound on metal mailboxes, stovepipes, roofs.
These are the percussionists of the bird world.
If they find something that they can get that drumming sound out and make it louder, they will.
Okay, well, speaking of birds that do not necessarily announce themselves through birdsong, you have another one here that you said is interesting because it doesn't necessarily sing.
This is the American woodcock,
Okay.
the timberdoodle, as it's known.
Timberdoodle, cute.
Okay,
Okay.
and it is a sandpiper. It hunts primarily for worms and such. It doesn't necessarily have a song. It has a call, so it'll sit out in the field and go peent, peent, peent. But then it has this glorious flight display where it will go up into the air, and as it comes down and the air flows over its feathers, it twitters.
Oh, wow.
And it'll twitter as it comes down and comes zooming out of the sky and then plop right back down in the place where it was in the field and start its painting all over again.
Okay, this has now just accelerated to the top of my birds I'm going to be on the lookout for list.
So woodcock, you want to go to places that have like an open field
Okay.
next to a wetter area,
Okay.
which is where they'll feed. They'll display in that open field, and then they often nest in young forest, early successional habitat.
That sounds so cool. Okay, and there's another one you said we should be on the lookout for now because we won't necessarily see it this summer.
No, and this is a good one. This is one that has been singing the past couple of days in my yard. I haven't seen it yet. I used Merlin to identify it because
Okay.
I only hear this bird briefly. This is the fox sparrow, and this bird is on its way further north, and it passes through Vermont, and it's one of those birds that I'll see for 2-3 days. They'll be around, maybe a little longer, and then you won't see them again.
Oh, very cool.
So
I was trying to pull out my Merlin app right now because I had been, one of the neat things about it, you can record, or you can like take a record.
Yes.
So that then you can save and say, these are all of the birds that I
That
heard the other
is-
day. And I was going to, I can't get it to pull up because of course I can't find the list right now. But some things that had been showing up on my list. Juncos? Wait, no,
Juncos.
not the Juncos. A grackle.
So the blackbirds are back.
Blackbirds, yes.
Grackles and red-winged blackbirds
Yes,
are
red-winged
also
blackbirds,
back.
yes.
There is the brown creeper, which
Uh-huh.
has been singing for the last month. I call that bird the sugar bird because it's usually during our sugaring season. So yeah, there's a bunch of things, and of course we haven't really delved into all the water birds that are beginning to show up on Lake Champlain as they move through. That's a whole separate category. But yeah, just those first couple of, number of species that are back that get us excited. Red-winged blackbirds now are in our peeper pond in our marsh, and we can hear them along with the peepers. And the wood frogs are going right now. This is also a great time for amphibians to start moving. So yeah, an exciting time, and for me, we're prepping our field season, getting ready for the big pulse of migrants that we'll probably see come through in May.
Well, I can tell that we're going to have a lot to talk about next month. We're going to have all of these new birds and the migrants all starting to arrive.
It is an exciting time, and birders, the listserv and the Facebook page will be full up with all of the FOYs.
Oh, okay.
First of the year.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, all right, so now you've heard it. So do you have a bird question for Mark? Take a picture and send it to him. His contact info is right there on the screen. Okay, can't wait to talk about next month. It's going to be very exciting things.
It's starting.
It is starting. All right, well, as always, Vermont, thank you for learning and exploring with me today. And thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.